Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thursday, 1 o'clock, like clockwork, every week. We're
Right
here.
on time.
Yep, just talking with you, and sometimes we prepare in advance, an educational program. Sometimes it's just off the cuff, and sometimes we never know which one it's going to be because even if we pre-prepare, sometimes it ends up being off the cuff.
Or something else.
Yes, yeah, or something completely different, and then we have to change the topic on our list, But I was thinking about saw another one of those commercials for that 23 and Me, and
Yeah,
it, and
they're
it
all
and it
over.
was a discussion about your roots. Where are you from?
There's a TV show about your roots where they take
Celebrities,
celebrities. Yeah.
and
It's very, I
it's
think it's humbling. I think it's very heartwarming.
what's really interesting to me mostly is the British and the Irish when they take a celebrity, like a Matthew McConaughey,
Mhm.
who's got a, an Irish background, uh, or Richard Burton, who is Scottish, uh, and they're Scottish or they're Irish, and they take the DNA testing, whether it's 23andMe or any one of those, that comes back and it shows that they're 25 or 30% Italian. And I think, what? Where did that come in?
No, I've seen it where their ancestors, great grandfather, great great whatever, mother, they haven't done so well. Like they've part of something that's not really wonderful, a part of a group
I mean,
or
like a
such.
mafia connection or
Yeah,
something.
which isn't so wonderful. And these poor people, they're like shocked and stunned, don't know what to say.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a real kind of letdown.
yeah, yeah.
But we did this with my mom.
Did
We
you?
did,
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah, we did. And it was one of those years that my sister and I looked at each other and said, what do you get this 96, 97-year-old woman who can buy her own clothes and has everything she needs? So we thought, well, maybe she would enjoy seeing new relatives. We should get a kick out of it.
New connections.
And we did. And first of all, getting her to spit or put something on her tongue just to take the test wasn't the easiest. But we did it. We sent it off, and we're waiting, and we're waiting, and finally, 6 or 8 weeks later, something comes back, and a list of people that she is related to, supposedly.
You mean
One
you
or
mean from ancient history?
yes,
Because the
or
DNA goes
now.
back that far.
Yes, but or now. And a couple of people she was like shocked at. She didn't know who they were. She had no idea. And there were a couple of people that she'd heard about through her mother and grandmother. And then there were people that started emailing her saying, I'm a long lost whatever,
Yeah,
whatever.
you're
Or 23andMe would write back and they'd say, we found somebody else that has been connected to you. And they give the person's name and an email address or whatever. And it was, it
yeah,
wasn't as much as it was cracked up to be, is
yeah,
what I guess
and
what
I
I'm trying to
always
say.
wonder about that if somebody reaches out and because maybe they're a hacker and they find out that there may be a ancient connection or something that your great 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 great
Yeah.
grandfather or something and my great 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 grandfather were cousins,
I,
whatever,
I
from
don't know.
Mesopotamia.
Yeah, well, it didn't work out that way for us. And I guess we were expecting a little bit more, and it really didn't. It really wasn't all that wonderful for us.
Yeah.
For other people, and especially for murders and solving crimes. I mean, this is
And by the way, you're
unbelievable.
related to Al Capone. Uh,
Well, but no, the way that they can find out who was the perpetrator in a murder
well,
investigation
well,
or who
yeah,
was
that's
involved,
that's the other
that to
aspect
me
of it.
is amazing.
And it could be that they unearth bones from a
Yes.
you know a a murder that's been committed 50, 60 years ago, and they can get DNA evidence from the bones, and then they find the killer.
Yeah. That I find even more amazing than anything else.
And you would think that that would act as more of a deterrent for some people thinking about committing violent crimes and murders, is that your DNA is going to catch up. If you have even the slightest drop of blood left at the scene,
yeah,
they can catch up with you.
It doesn't seem, you can tell by the numbers. I mean, crime, it hasn't stopped, but yeah.
But it's.
Would you take a test?
I guess I would.
Would you?
Yeah, I'm not too thrilled about having to spit into something or whatever to do it, but no, I think it's just the curiosity aspect of it, because I know where my ancestors, 4 or 5 generations are from, but going further back, I think that there's an awful lot of people, especially those here living in America, that are curious if they have any, Native American blood. And it's surprising how many people find out that they are 5%, 10% Cherokee or Seminole or what, and then you wonder, well, how does that play into who you are or what you do? I mean, there are people that may be 50% one thing and 50% another. There are others that are 10% of 10 different nationalities.
Correct.
And so does that mean that you get to celebrate all the holidays? I guess so.
You could anyway.
Yeah, I'm 10% Irish, so I celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
But it means you can find out more about yourself and study that, and like you said, know who you really are. But I would rather pay somebody like a genealogist, and we have a friend that does that. She's a genealogist, and I'd rather pay her whatever it was
than to spit into it too.
Yeah, and not sure how they're coming up with this, because the genealogist can show you concrete evidence of
supposedly
your relatives.
The DNA will do it too, except it just says that you are this person, you have this kind of blood in you there, that way back your whatever ancestor commingled or married or whatever and had an offspring with somebody of this race, and that's how you became part this. What that means, I don't know. It's, I guess, just knowing that knowledge that you are part this
and part,
and also they sometimes will find out that if somebody has the ability to create art, music, drawing, what, sometimes they go back and they see in the DNA, well, there was somebody that was a famous artist back in your. Well, does that really mean that little bit of DNA in your blood allowed you to become a nationally known artist or author?
Can't answer that. Possibly.
I sometimes think that the results that you get from your DNA are similar to going to see a fortune teller who will look at your palm and say that you have this tendency and that tendency.
Yeah, but at least with the DNA, you have something more concrete, as opposed to somebody that you're trusting that you have no idea where they came from or who they are, and they're not giving you a bunch of baloney about some lines on your hand, on the palm of your hand.
Yeah, with my luck, they'd check my DNA, and then the person that did the DNA test would call 911 to have the authorities come to pick me up, because they found out that one of my relatives and all was a mass murderer.
There is,
and they want to question me.
No. There is a website though, and our son, when we were doing this genealogy with my mom, he found it, and I'm sure maybe people know it and we're the last to know, that you can find your relatives who came over from Europe
Oh, yeah,
You can
come
find the manifest of when they came over and their signature
Ellis
at
Island.
Ellis Island. And I have that. And that to me even was amazing. Um,
But you
yeah.
know, you can find the country of origin
Hmm.
for your relatives. But like I said, it might take you back to where your great grandparents or something
Hmm.
were from,
Hmm.
and all. But a DNA test, it's amazing to me, but it can go back another century
Hmm.
or so to show that maybe if they found out that your great grandparents
Hmm.
or something were uh, from Asia
Hmm.
and all, it could be that maybe their great grandparents could have been from Europe or from Australia or someplace else, and
That's true.
you weave around the
That's true.
connections and but I understand the genealogist will usually take it in more depth. You may go back 3, 4, 5 generations,
Hmm.
but it will also show you the branches of that tree
Right. Correct.
and all that go into modern locations as well as
I find it
historical.
extremely interesting, and maybe I'll do that in my next life. But the
You know,
DNA.
in your next life, you'll find out if it connects you to this life.
Well, that's what I did too. But the DNA too. When I watch these crime shows,
Yeah,
how did they figure this out? And it takes a while.
it's
I mean, some of the shows it's like instantaneously they found the DNA, but I know that it could take, I thought, a couple of months to
well,
figure it out.
you know,
To
the
who
crime
the,
shows sometimes maybe embellish it a little
yeah,
bit because
probably.
I've had conversations with retired police authority that say the TV shows and the movies are embellished, but uh, when you look at some of these crime scenes and they've got the little numbers all over the crime
Yes.
scene and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
yellow tape,
Yeah.
they can pick up a hair and put
Yes.
that in a bag. They pick
Yes.
up a one drop of blood. Maybe somebody that died scratched somebody and they get a little bit of skin from under their nails. It is amazing that so little evidence can produce so
But
many
how do
results.
they know this? See, I should have done some investigation
Yeah. Well,
before we decided to talk about this. Because how do they know if someone's involved in a crime and it comes back to me, but I'm not a criminal. I don't have a record, so to speak. How does it come back to me, Lauren Sax's little citizen in Frisco, Texas?
you were in the wrong
I
place
mean,
at the wrong time.
how do they know that that hair or that blood links it to me?
Well,
It's
yeah,
amazing.
you're absolutely right. I mean, you could have walked out of that restaurant and into that parking lot and scratched your head,
Yeah.
and some of your hair ended up down in the parking lot. You get in your car and you drive off, and then all of a sudden the police show up, and they would like to question you because your hair was found in the parking lot at this restaurant. You say, "Yeah, I was there." Well, somebody was killed there, and we need to talk to
And
you
how they know it's my hair? I
because
just,
if you
it's,
went like that and the hair was on the ground, they could connect that through your DNA
why do they have my DNA?
because you scratched your head in the parking
No,
lot of that
no.
restaurant. I mean,
Does it go back to tests when you were a baby that they have from the hospital records?
well, they say everybody's DNA is different.
That's
And when
right.
you think about how many billions of people there are on this earth, not only currently, but before us,
Yeah.
and everybody's it's like no they say no two snowflakes are identical.
Yeah.
That's a science. That's
But
part of
right.
criminology, and there are people that study that and spend 8 hours a day in a lab looking at that evidence to determine what that DNA is and
I
whether the suspect is connected through DNA. I mean, if they caught him on camera, I mean, that's a pretty good case that he was at the scene of the crime when the crime was committed.
Oh yeah.
But the fascinating ones are the one where they come up with a clue or a lead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what do they call them? A dead when a case is
Cold file in the cold file.
Cold file. And there are people in law enforcement whose
Yes,
entire careers are spent on dead files.
Yeah.
They are convinced that this suspect, who may be in jail, maybe they're dead, but that they were connected to the crime. And it's a puzzle. And they take all the pieces of the puzzle in order to make the puzzle fit.
I want to know, how did they connect those people? We should have somebody on. Well, or I need to do more investigation.
Yeah, okay. You know, or take the test and see who maybe you were, you know, related in the past to Jack the Ripper.
Oh, lovely. That's pleasant.
Wow.
I don't want to take the test because, like you said, I'm afraid I'm going to get all these emails. I mean, we did this years ago with my mom, and I'm still occasionally getting an email on her account.
You know, or
amazing.
Yeah, somebody says, you know, I found out that we're related, and by the way, you owe me money.
You never know.
Put it in an envelope and leave it on the corner.
Never know.
You know, 3rd and Main. But well, whatever your DNA is, if you do decide to spit in the tube and get it tested, and all, drop us a line and let us know if you're related to somebody.
Yeah,
really.
Did you find anybody exciting, interesting?
Yeah, somebody that's really very, very famous, and you say, "Oh, that's."
Yeah, I'd be curious.
He's my cousin. You know, 200,000 removed or something like that. Anyhow, go out and make it a good day. Come back and see us again next week.
Bye.
Bye.